Today, we're diving into a really incredible corporate comeback. We're going to look at how International Breweries went from being a company most people had written off to a real success story. And, more importantly, we'll unpack the valuable lessons this turnaround has for every single investor out there. This quote really hits the nail on the head. The best lessons don't always come from the high-flying growth stocks. Sometimes they come from the quiet, resilient companies that claw their way back from the brink. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. All right, so before this big turnaround, International Breweries was navigating some seriously rough waters. For a lot of people, it had become a totally forgotten stock. I mean, the company was facing a perfect storm of problems. You had massive foreign exchange pressure, which made everything more expensive. Then, operational costs were just soaring. And all of this, as you can imagine, led to year after year of financial losses. So it's really no surprise that investors started looking elsewhere. And we're not just talking about a single bad quarter here. The company was in a prolonged period of financial pain, with losses literally piling up year after year. Now, this is exactly the kind of trend that makes most investors run for the hills. But every great comeback story has a turning point, right? For International Breweries, after all those years of struggling, a huge shift was just around the corner. And that pivot point came in 2025. It was like a switch flipped. All of a sudden, the entire story changed. This company, once defined by its losses, started this dramatic, pretty surprising recovery that really got the market's attention. I mean, just look at that contrast. It is so stark. After years deep in the red, the company's financials suddenly jumped into positive territory in 2025. This move from red ink to black is really the heart of this entire story. So, what happened? Well, the recovery wasn't magic. They directly tackled the exact challenges that had been dragging them down. Revenues started picking up, they finally got their costs under control, and those persistent losses, they turned into actual profits. It was a complete, fundamental transformation of the business. So, you've got to be asking, how did they do it? A turnaround of this size, it rarely happens in a vacuum. In this case, one of the biggest factors was the strategic muscle of its global parent company. And when we talk about AB InBev, we're not just talking about some big company. This is the world's largest brewing group. Having a parent with that kind of scale, that kind of experience, and those kinds of resources, well, that gives you a massive, undeniable strategic advantage. And this advantage really came down to three key things. First, AB InBev brought in its global expertise on how to run a brewery efficiently. Second, it instilled a whole new culture of operational discipline to get those costs under control. And third, and this is so crucial, it provided the long-term support needed to actually see the strategy through. Okay, so this isn't just a story about one brewery. It's really a case study. It offers a valuable playbook for any investor who's out there looking to find hidden value in the market. So let's boil it all down. What's the real lesson here? What are the key things you can take away from what happened with International Breweries? Let's break it down. All right, here are the key principles. First, you've got to learn how to spot when a company is moving from a place of stress to a place of stability. Second, remember that markets don't just reward growth. They absolutely reward a solid recovery. So try to look past the negative headlines for strong fundamentals that might still be there. And finally, always look for the impact of powerful strategic backing, just like the game-changing advantage AB InBev provided. This is really the core idea. While all the exciting growth stories get the headlines, these recovery stories can be even more rewarding for investors who take the time to really understand the fundamentals. It's such a powerful principle to keep in mind. As always, just a quick reminder that this is all for educational purposes and is definitely not investment advice. But the story of International Breweries is a fantastic reminder that sometimes the absolute best opportunities are hiding right where no one else is looking.